October 6, 2014, from AT&T Park in San Francisco, California. It was Game 3 of the NLDS between the Washington Nationals and the San Francisco Giants. And on the mound for the Giants was Madison Bumgarner, and on the mound for the Nationals was Doug Fister. So Bumgarner came out to pitch the top of the first, and he struck out the first batter he saw, Span, and then Rendon got a single, but then Bumgarner was struck out Worth, and then he got LaRoche out to end the top of the first. So now he went to the bottom of the first, and Fister set down the Giants in order, and so after one, it was knotted up at a goose egg. So now in the top of the second, Bumgarner set down the Nationals in order, and he would strike out Wilson Ramos to get out of that top half of the second. So now in the bottom of the second, Pablo Sandoval, Kung Fu Panda, led off with a single, but then Pence got out. Brandon Belt would walk, and so now we had 2 on and 1 out, but then Crawford got out, he flew out. Now Ishikawa would walk, so we had the bases juiced for Madison Bumgarner, but he struck out. So after 2, it was still 0-0. So now in the top of the third, Madison Bumgarner would set down the first 2 batters. He actually struck out Fister, the second batter he saw, but then Span would get a single, and then Rendon would get a single. So we had 2 on, 2 out for Worth, but he would end up grounding out. And so now we moved to the bottom of the third, and Fister would end up getting the first 2 batters, Blanco and Panic, to ground out, but then Posey got a single, but then Pablo Sandoval grounded out. And so the inning came to a close, and after 3, it was still knotted up at a goose egg. So now on the top of the fourth, Madison Bumgarner set down the Nationals in order. He actually bookended the inning with strikeouts as he struck out LaRoche and Harper, and Desmond ended up lining out in between the 2. So now on the bottom of the fourth, Doug Fister would end up getting Hunter Pence to ground out, but then Brandon Belt got a single. He was then caught stealing second. And so we had 2 outs as Crawford came out and he struck out to end the bottom of the fourth. And so now moving on to the 5th inning, Madison Bumgarner would set down the Nationals in order. So now we're in the bottom of the 5th, and Doug Fister got Ishikawa to fly out, but then he walked Bumgarner. He then got the next 2 batters out to bring the 5th to a close. It was still 0-0 Giants-Nationals. So now we have Madison Bumgarner leading off the top of the 6th as the pitcher on the mound. Span was the batter at the plate, and he ended up singling to lead off the inning. Then the next 3 batters flew out, so Bumgarner got through the 6th. So now, in the bottom of the 6th, Doug Fister would set down the Giants in order. He actually struck out Buster Posey as the first batter of the inning, and then got the next 2 batters, Sandoval and Pence, out. So now after 6, it was still 0-0. So now in the top of the 7th, Madison Bumgarner led up a leadoff single to Ian Desmond, and Bryce Harper would walk, so we had 2 runners on and no outs. Then Wilson Ramos sacrificed as he moved the runners over as Desmond and Harper moved over, and Ramos ended up reaching on a throwing error. So now Cabrera came up to bat, and he ended up singling. What the fuck? Oh, I gotta get this. Oh, okay. Now in the top of the 7th, Madison Bumgarner would let up a leadoff single to Ian Desmond, and then Bryce Harper walks. We had 2 on and no out. So now Wilson Ramos bunted, and Madison Bumgarner overthrew third base as he was trying to get Desmond out at third, and then Desmond and Harper both came in to score, and Ramos ended up on second base. So it was now 2-0 Nationals over the Giants. Asdrubal Cabrera hit a single that brought in Ramos, and it was now 3-0 Nationals over the Giants. The next 3 batters would get out, Fister, Span, and Rendon, and so the top of the 7th came to a close, but not before the Nationals had put 3 runs on the scoreboard, with the score now 3-0 Nationals over the Giants. So now Fister came out to pitch the bottom of the 7th, and Brandon Belt got a leadoff single, but then Crawford grounded out. Belt was now on second base. Ishikawa would get out, and now Duffy would come in to pinch hit for Bumgarner, but he grounded out, and the 7th came to a close. The score was 3-0 Nationals over Giants after 7. Now on the top of the 8th, Gene Machi would come in to relieve Bumgarner, who had been pinch hit for, and he would set down the Nationals in order. He actually struck out the first batter. He faced Jason Worth, and then got LaRoche and Desmond out. So now in the bottom of the 8th, Tyler Clippard would come in to relieve Doug Fister, and he would set down the Giants in orders. He got Blanco, Panic, and Posey out. So now after 8, it was still 3-0 Nationals over the Giants, and in the top of the 9th, Bryce Harper got a leadoff homer as he hit it over 420 feet, and it was now 4-0 Nationals over the Giants. The next 2 batters would get out as Ramos and Cabrera lined out, and then Sherholtz would come in to pinch hit for Clippard. Affeld would come in to relieve Machi, and then Zimmerman would end up pinch hitting for Sherholtz, so he had some strategy going on between these 2 managers. Zimmerman would then ground out and bring the top of the 9th to a close, and now it was the bottom of the 9th, and Drew Storen came in to pitch for the Nationals. He was looking to close this one out, although it was not a safe situation at a 4-run ball game. Pablo Sandoval would get a leadoff single, and then Hunter Pence doubled, and so we had 2 runners in scoring position as Sandoval was on 3rd, Pence on 2nd, and Brandon Belt then struck out for the first out of the inning. But then Brandon Crawford came in, he hit a sac fly, and Kung Fu Panda came across the plate to score the first run of the game for the Giants, and it was now 4-1. Ishikawa came to the plate and he grounded out, and this game came to a close as the Nationals win this game 4-1. They get their first victory in this NLDS as they avoid the sweep in San Francisco. It is now 2-1 as the Giants have the 1-game lead over the Nationals, but they win this game 4-1. And what an effort they got out of Doug Fister. He's the winning pitcher. He pitched 7 innings, did not allow any earned runs. He only let up 4 hits. He had 3 walks and 3 strikeouts. Clippard in relief pitched 1 inning and didn't allow any earned runs, and Storen did allow that 1 run, but he did close the door. Bumgarner got the loss. He pitched 7 innings, allowed 2 earned runs and 6 hits. He had 6 strikeouts and 1 walk. As for at the plate, Span was 2 for 4. Rendon was also 2 for 4. Desmond was 1 for 4. Harper was 1 for 3 with 2 runs and an RBI. Desmond also crossed the plate as well. He had a run, and Ramos did too, although he was 0 for 3. Cabrera was 1 for 4 with an RBI, and Harper had that home run for the Nationals, the lone home run in this game. Pence had a double. He was 1 for 4 in this game for the Giants. Sandoval was 2 for 4. He had a run. Posey was 1 for 4. Belt was 2 for 3. And Crawford had the RBI, the lone RBI for the Giants off that sac fly. So the Nationals win this one 4-1. They stay alive as they will now face the Giants in Game 4 in San Francisco.